Hello, everyone. Thank you very much for being here with us. We are Keven Vargas and Tania Huz. We are glad to present you our material for our midterm number 1. And this is about how to develop a class focused on Bloom's taxonomy and also the psychology of using of colors in our classes. Thank you very much for paying attention, and we are going to start. So, for me, it's a pleasure to show you first our lesson plan. And this lesson plan is focused on the content that is going to be the living or non-living things. And the student is going to have competencies like writes and talks about living and non-living things when describing a life cycle of a plant in class by writing a speech. But also we have designing another one that we are sure the student is going to take at the end of the class. And it's that describes and explains the parts of the plant by making a craft in class. So this is going to help our students to develop their skills. And also right here, we have our achievement indicators. And one of those is that answer questions correctly, speaks fluently, writes accurately, pronounces correctly, and also experiments with the craft. So creating is one way of learning, and we are focused on that now. So as I was telling you, the colors are very important to get students' attention, but also the teacher has to always start with an activity, and this activity is called warm up, which is a game. It can be a song or something that it's related to the content of the class. And here we have as an explain that the guessing objects, it's a very good. The teacher is going to show some shades, and obviously by speaking, the students are going to guess. The teacher is going to say, yes, it is right, or it is not, by showing some flashcards. And also is going to continue using the flashcards that are related to the content. Right here, we have another one, shade. And right here, we have the correct answer that are scissors. And also, we can see that the life cycle of a plant is our main topic. So here, it's a good part to become and asking students if they know if it's a living thing or non-living things. But here, according to the knowledge that they have, they are going to remember the first step of Bloom's taxonomy, that it's remembering or activating previous knowledge. And the teacher is going to ask if animals are living or non-living things, and the students are going to say, yes, they are living, or no, they are not living things. And they're going to keep answering and asking so on. Then it's going to continue, and the teacher is going to present the main and the specific content. So by understanding and focus on this Bloom's taxonomy step, they are going to know what are living or non-living things. The teacher is going to explain by showing this poster, but also explaining what's the difference between these two. Right here also, we are going to see that the teacher, we are going to present a poster designed for the students. And this information is going to be shared by the teacher, and it's another aid that it's going to help to get more information, and the students are going to get better the content. And now we're going to go back to the presentation. And also we can see that we're going to continue. And by listening an audio, the students are going to develop listening skills, but also they're going to know about the life cycle of a plant according to how it's growing and what the steps are going to follow.
Today, we'll be learning about the life cycle of a plant. Seed. All plants go through a life cycle.
So as you can listen, you are going to take a little read from the screen, but also you're going to listen to more information. So the students are exposed to take notes and to pay attention to get information, right? And also, the teacher is going to present the parts of the plant and also is going to continue the application of knowledge by applying it into a link. And this is a link for the worksheet. And in this worksheet, the student is going to apply their knowledge. And as you can see right here on my screen, they can take and draw the parts of the plant and they can go for the answers. So it is going to be applied in every steps that are that has been seen through the class, okay? And by this, we can see that applying is one thing that is going to help them to get more information. So we are going to continue with another activity, and this activity is going to be focused on the analyzing how they got the information and how they are going to categorize pictures of living and non-living things. And right here, they are going to work on a Jamboard. This Jamboard is going to be part of their work. And as you can see here, they are going to be able to classify those living or non-living things by their names and putting them into the correct category where it belongs. But also, the teacher has to have a guide and is going to have a rubric. This rubric is going to take the points that the student is going to work on it and how they are going to develop their work. So it's very important that as a teacher we get some instrument to see how the student is working on those exercises. And also continuing with the presentation, we can see that after applying, it is very important to evaluate. So right here, according to the classes, right, the teacher has sent the materials that are going to be used in class. And here it is an example about those materials and how to ask for some materials. But also we can see that these materials are going to be helpful to make the craft. And making the craft, the student is going to speak, is going to create, but is going to develop the knowledge that has been knowing through this class. And here, the creation of this craft also will need another rubric because it is a timing set. It is a guide to see how they are working, if they are doing it well, or if they are not doing that well. So it is very important to get them clear what they are going to expect to do. And also, after the evaluation, we can also see that the student has to do something else. And we can see in our presentation that the creation of a presentation of a speech, it is very important. So right here in groups, we have done these instructions or guidelines for the students to work not only alone, but also in groups or into pairs to follow and to know how much everyone got from the content. And here, as you can see, the teacher has shown an explanation or something that it's expected to get there. And the plant, it's the main topic. And also it's going to follow the seed and roots, young adult to adult, germination to seeding. And also don't forget to include why it is the plant a living thing. And as before with the other activities, it is very important to have this rubric to let clear or to let them know what are they expected to do into class and how they are going to do it, right? Because we can say, yes, it is a very good job, or not, it's not a very good job, but what are those weaknesses or strengths of the students that has to improve? So according to making a rubric, we can see how to work on those parts that are going to be important for the students to pay attention. And as I told you, the colors are very important, so don't forget to make something that is very catchy for students. And also that it is very important to make a review after finishing up the class, but also it is very important to do a time to ask them questions and a time to get them clear some doubts that they have. Okay, so this is everything from the class number 1. Hopefully it is clear for you and also worthy, right? So thank you very much. I'm going to let my partner Keven Vargas, and he is going to continue with the explanation on the class number 2.
Okay, thank you, Teacher Tania. So we are going to continue with the second class. In this case, I'm in charge of explaining the second class that we have created, and it is going to be a pleasure for me to start presenting. And we are going to start with the lesson plan that we have created. For example, as you can see, we have the main topic is about grammar. And then we have the competencies. We have the first one, which is uses and practices comparative adjectives to make sentences comparing things in an oral and written situation. In the second, we have analyzes and speaks using comparative adjectives in common content, like operating systems in class. And it is also very important to mention the achievement indicators, like complete sentences correctly, differentiates grammar structure easily, and speaks fluently, and lesson content comparative adjectives. So we can see we have the lesson plan, and all the different parts developed during this lesson plan are developed during the presentation of the class. So I'm going to start sharing the presentation of the class. In this case, first, welcome dear students. So we are going to start with a class. And then in this case, are you ready to play? We are going to start using Hangman. And I'm going to show the game. So as you can see, I have the Hangman. In this case, we are going to ask the students to choose a letter, and this is going to help them energize. So they are going to start motivated the class. So we're back to the presentation to continue. And then we are going to ask them about their preferences, because as we know that younger learners nowadays are very skillful when it comes to using technology. It could be Android or iOS. Then in this case, we have the adjectives. We are going to start with an explanation of short adjectives and long adjectives. And in this step, we are going to start applying the level of remember, which belongs to Bloom's taxonomy, because they are going to be listening and repeating the long and short adjectives. We also have irregular adjectives. And we also have created more resources so we can explain them more about the topic. In this case, it is an infographic. So I'm going to show the infographic, which is related to the advantages and disadvantages of Google Android and Apple iOS, the advantages and disadvantages. Now we have to compare. We are going to be explaining about the different sentences that we can formulate about comparing with long adjectives and short adjectives. Then we are going to ask them to read the guidelines, talk about your family and yourself to compare, and also about these products, so they can talk about their family or these products. So we are going to ask them to come up with examples. They are going to think about examples. So it is going to be part of the understanding of Bloom's taxonomy because they are going to be using what they have been learning. So they are going to show their understanding. Then are you paying attention? Then we have guidelines. They are going to access to the live worksheet. So they are going to examine and choose to select the correct answer. So as we can see here, we have different examples about matching, drag and drop the words belong, the correct picture, which is going to be about short and long adjectives. So they are going to be applying the third level of Bloom's taxonomy. Okay, now to continue with the presentation, they are going to be working on the next game, for example. In this case, they are going to deduce the options that are going to appear on the screen, and they are going to organize to complete the sentences. So it is going to be very important because they are going to be analyzing if those are the correct parts that they are going to be choosing so they can formulate the sentences, deduce, and organize. So I'm going to show the game. For example, an elephant is bigger than a mouse. So then when they are going to continue, they are going to be formulating the sentences. Now we have this activity, write sentences using the Google Doc. They have an example about what they have to write so they can formulate sentences. They are going to be evaluating the usage of long and short adjectives in the Google Docs. So I'm going to show the Google Docs. This is the Google Docs in which they are going to be working on. And it is also very important to mention that the activities, each one of them has their own rubric to evaluate. So they are going to be evaluating. They are going to be evaluated with a rubric. And for example, the next activity, it also has a rubric. So we can see the importance of these aspects when it comes to teaching because we are going to look at their progresses and if they need more effort or something else. Okay, now we are going to keep going with the presentation. It is also very important to mention that when it comes to teaching, as we have already mentioned before, they are going to be repeating, they are going to be formulating, they are going to be writing, and they are going to be speaking. So they are also going to be developing the necessary skills so they can learn English. They're going to be writing, this is a very important skill. They are going to be speaking, listening, and they are also going to be reading the Google document. So they are going to be developing the different skills. And so far we have seen that they have to work individual, but it is also very important to work in groups or collaboratively. So they are going to be working in pairs in a Zoom meeting to talk about comparison of them or their families. So they are going to be talking in pairs. So it is going to be collaborative work, and it is part of the creating level of Bloom's taxonomy. And it also has a rubric, for example, speaks fluently, pronounces correctly, and uses long and short adjectives very good. So we have more aspects to be evaluated when it comes to evaluating the work of them. And it is also very important to mention that the teacher needs to ask them if they have any questions or create any other activity so we can see if they still need more information. And for example, in this case of the presentation, as we can see, in most slides were included this dark color. And the reason is because the dark color is going to make them to look at the screen and it is going to be more comfortable for the eye. So they are going to be there and it is not going to hurt their eyes. And the reason that why, for example, yellow, we have red, we have Blue, we have another warm colors because these colors is going to activate them. For example, blue is going to keep them calm, and red is going to give them energy. And with the yellow, it is going to be catchy for them. So they are going to be paying attention. And the neutral colors, as we can see on the background, it is for them to feel calm and comfortable for the eye to look at the content. So we have already mentioned the different skills that they have to be developing during this lesson or presentation. And also we have explained the psychology of colors and the levels of Bloom's taxonomy and the different aspects. So this is everything for this second class. Thank you, Teacher Tan.
Thank you, Teacher Kevin. It's a pleasure for us to present these classes. And as I told you before, we have been thinking and focused on Bloom's taxonomy and the psychology of colors. And we are glad that you get some important information from this presentation of how to design the class lesson or the lesson plan and how to design the material, and is going to be very, very helpful for not only for the student, but also for the teacher too. So thank you very much for your time. Thank you very much for your attention. And this is all for today, but hopefully we're going to get in touch in another video. So thank you, Teacher Kevin. And nice
Thank you so
to
much.
have this time with you. See you next time.
See
Bye-bye.
you next time.